Hello, everyone. Very good evening to all of you. Hope all of you are doing wonderfully well, and welcome to our final session before we initiate with the LMS MUN 2025 conference. That being said, today is a day of question and answers, and I'm going to spend the next some time with all of you, where I'm not going to be sharing my screen, but rather I am going to be awaiting y'all to share your questions regarding the ROP in your respective chat boxes as well. So, students, the few of you who are here, if you have any questions regarding the ROP, this would be a good time for you to ask me. I see a lot of you here today, some total of three of you. Seems like everybody is well prepared for the upcoming conference. It's good to know. Still awaiting. Questions, please. Wonderful, Himanshi. Thanks for asking a question. If we make a combined working paper, do everyone get an equal point? Yes, absolutely. All those people involved in the working paper do, of course, get a lot of points for involving them in the working paper, be it in terms of drafting it, be it in terms of ideating it, be it in terms of its contribution. So, yes, very much so. Do contribute to your working paper. It will be very beneficial to all of you. So, what will be the dress code? Asked Aryan Rajput. Dress code, I think you should check with your teachers once. That would be advisable from my end. So, once if you all could have a word with your respective teachers, I think they would be in the right direction, Aryan, to give you that answer. More questions. Let me just pin it in the chat box as well. So, people who join in later will know. Today's session who have queries on the ROP, please do ask them in the chat box. And let's pin this. Right, Devayan, good afternoon, sir. How can we carry our own speech to the committee? As I have mentioned earlier, that what I want you all to do is I want you all to carry your electronic equipments with you. I want you to carry your mobile phones and a laptop or tablet if you have them, so that you can access your speeches and your written material with you as well. So do carry them with you. Sayan Thakur, batch of 2015. Hello, sir. Hello, Sayan. Lovely to connect with you. Tamanna, sir, can you about the IPCC detail in is about what am I supposed to do there? So the IPCC committee is essentially, you could say, a media-based committee where essentially what happens here is we do the entire coverage of the conference in terms of news, in terms of current affairs, in terms of journalism, in terms of photography. So you know how you have like a magazine, right, or a newspaper. You must have read, you must have seen articles written by people, and below that their name is written like as an editor. So the journalists essentially are the people who are responsible for the creating of the newsletter or gazette, and the photographers are responsible for creating the after movie and the music and the photographs as well. Apart from that, the International Press Corps Committee is also going to be the ones who are going to be introducing crisis in the committee. As you all know, how did you find out about Operation Sindoor early this morning when you woke up? All because of the news and the media personnel, right? So that is essentially the role you are going to be playing in the conference as well. Sayan asked me, can you tell us dress code? Dress code, please do check in with your teacher, Sayan, please. Swati asks, informal voting, moderated caucus, and unmoderated caucus. Sure, Swati. So, Swati, informal voting is basically a simple majority where when there are more than 50%, when there are more than 50% who vote for a particular thing, then that entire initiative passes. That is what is essentially your moderated caucus. Repeating one, sorry, which is your informal voting. Repeating once again, what is informal voting? Everything in the committee is done together as a whole committee at large. Based on that, based on that, if I am proposing a particular thing, or if I am proposing a motion in the committee, just because I have proposed it, need not make it necessary to pass. Everything goes under something which is known as a informal voting. Apart from, of course, your formal voting, which comes under the resolution. So, summarizing what informal voting, it's basically a show of placards, like how you show your hand in class. Like that, you show your placards when you want to vote for or against something, and based on simple majority, that particular motion or that particular thing that we want to do in committee will either pass or it will fail. So I think in terms of moderated caucus, what does moderated caucus mean? Moderated caucus is essentially a detailed discussion on the subtopic of the agenda. जैसे आपका जो agenda रहेगा is quite vast, right? There's so much information, इतना ज़्यादा information है एक agenda पे. For example, when we talk about India Pakistan, and current crisis in Pelgam, it's not only involving the shooting in Pelgam, but it's also involving the Indus Water Treaty. It's also involving the surgical strikes. It's also involving closure of airspace. So many things are involved in this. So each thing associated with the problem is discussed in detail through something known as a moderated caucus. This is what a moderated caucus is, the type of motion. Similarly, unmoderated caucus, on the other hand, is an informal discussion where basically you can get up from where you are seated, you can engage with other delegates, you can be diplomatic with them, form your alliances, sit with your alliances, sit with the other delegates, negotiate with them, on app solutions for the conference at large. And moreover, what you can also do is make your solutions, which include your working paper, your resolutions, and all other aspects in terms of the committee at large. So this is what your unmoderated caucus essentially is. Cyber security and terrorism, asks Aryan Rajput. So, what is this committee essentially based out of? What is cybersecurity committee based out of? Is what I'm going to explain to you now. Cybersecurity committee is essentially based on the agenda: cyber-related warfare, terrorism, and espionage. See, once upon a time, like we study in a history textbooks, there was a time when we used to fight wars on battlefields with thousands of people, large armies, so many different things. In today's day and age, everything has become more technologically advanced, right? Sitting on one computer, we can control an entire world. Sitting on one electronic device, we are able to control drones with bombs. So terrorists are using technology, using different other leveraging of AI and so many different things to their advantage as well. So essentially what happens here is, what we need to do at large is we need to discuss about things like cyber terrorism, which include terrorists operating through the internet, through internet enabled devices. In this, we also discuss about espionage. See, everything today is online, right? I mean, everything is digitalized, as they say. Digitalization can be hacked. All countries' informations are actually available on the World Wide Web also. Tomorrow somebody hacks it, then who's going to be responsible? That is known as espionage. So how technology and how cyber security is very very important. Like how in home you have like a lock and a key and a security guard in your maybe your compound or wherever, like that we have to have a good security when it comes to a digital space as well. So this is essentially what your committee is about. Then we have something which is, we have the next question from Indi Nasya. She asks, after the working paper, if we make a resolution, do we need to read it in front of everyone? Not necessarily have to read it. You can even share it with everybody on their devices as well, also, so everybody can read it together rather than going through the whole thing. When you make the resolution, it's essentially just a compilation of your working paper, nothing further complicated than that. Coming to Tamanna's question once again. Tamanna asks, so IPCC have to make a report after the function will end in the evening, like it'll end at 6, so I have to sit up at night and make report. No, Taman, have to make it during the committee itself, during the days of the conference. So even in terms of IPL, analyst is just a position given to you. What you need to do is you need to basically create your dream team. You need to essentially auction the different players and find the best IPL team for your franchise. That is what you need to do in your committee at large. Tara, I've already explained about cybersecurity. So maybe what you can do is you can essentially watch this video again, maybe about 5 7 minutes prior to this, and in detail description of cybersecurity I've given when Aryan had asked me about it as well. Next question. So opening points for debate. There are no opening points for debate per se, but what we'd like you to do is we'd like you to start off by saying, like a salutation, like good afternoon, good evening to, honorable delegates, respected chairperson. I am the delegate of so and so country, and this is what my country stands is for whatever reason. So an opening point would ideally be like a salutation and your strong representation as a delegate, and moreover, it will be. How do you say, on the lines of uh, your stance. That is what will happen. Kamakshi, I didn't answer your question. If you understand your question, Kamakshi, if you could just rephrase it for me. You're comfortable with me speaking in English? You'd like me to speak in Hindi, my friends? English only. Perfect. Tamanna, do okay. Do I have to do photography and making report together when I'm supposed to submit it? So basically, a chairperson is going to be out there. Her name is Swarangi. She's a good friend of mine. She's coming from Delhi. She's very experienced in terms of the IPCC committee, and she will be the one who will guide you on how you can go about your discussions in terms of, how do you say, your reports and photographs and all your other media aspects of the conference. Swati, can you rephrase your question? Explain point to be used after speech of delegate. I didn't understand. You mean yields? Do you mean by the point yields, or do you mean something else? I'll await your revert, Swati. And even Kamakshi. Swati and Kamakshi, if you could rephrase your questions, I'll await your revert on the chat box. Lok Sabha is what Devyan is asking me about. Lok Sabha is going to be discussing a very interesting agenda, to be honest with you. It's called One Nation, One Election. And I genuinely believe that this is a good agenda. For the simple reason is that, in our country, we are known as largest democracy in the world. Correct? We are the largest democracy in the world. Now, because we are the largest democracy in the world, what essentially happens is we have so many elections. We have state level elections, we have district level elections, and we have the main election for a election of a PM as well. That is one type of election. You have different elections when it comes to your Lok Sabha. You have different elections when it comes to your Rajya Sabha. So essentially, what the thing is that these elections require a lot of money to happen. इसके लिए बहुत पैसे चाहिए रहता है, right? It's not able to do election for free. I mean, it costs money. So what happens is all our parents so hardworking, we all pay the tax, correct? So much of this tax money is used in terms of expenses on these different elections. That is point number one. It is financially not a very viable thing. The second thing is that it does not give us a clear picture on who should be a leader, because elections are split up in such a way that one state something is happening, second state something else is happening. There is no, how do you say, streamlining of the entire elections that take place. The idea is, being a country of more than 1.3 billion people today, how are we going to come together? How are we going to come together where we are going to represent the different members of the parliament, and we are going to find a way, and we are going to find a way and create a roadmap to have one election for the entire country, which is no easy task, because we are such a large country. It gets very difficult, and with so many people and so many states and so much of diversity and so many different timelines. So the challenge that we're going to be taking up in the Lok Sabha is how we can go about one nation and one election. This is what your Lok Sabha topic is about. संजीव कुमार सर, क्या अगर हमने किसी क्वेश्चन पूछा नहीं, गॉट स्टक एंड सेम? आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड संजीव, आपका प्रश्न मैं समझा नहीं एक्चुअली संजीव जी. Swati, now I understood what you're asking me about the different points, right? So there are four points, types of points. The first type of point is called point of personal privilege. Basically, any problem you're facing in the committee, any kind of issue, आपको सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है, जो दूसरा delegate बात कर रहा है, you want to excuse yourself, maybe go to washroom, some sort of few minutes you need to yourself. Then you use the point to personal privilege, point of personal privilege. The second point is point of information. So what happens in point of information? So second is point of information. Point of information essentially means, if there is a delegate in the committee that has given the false information, that has given the wrong information in the committee, हमने यहाँ झूठ बोला है या false information बोला है, cover किया है अपने information को, and you know that this delegate is giving the false information, you can raise your placard, say point of information, and you can say कि ये delegate सही information नहीं दे रहा है, he is giving the false information. At this junction time, what can happen further is you can ideally हैव टू प्रूव इट टू देम एज वेल. ऐसा नहीं कि आपने बोला है कि ये फॉल्स इन्फॉर्मेशन है एंड इट इज ट्रू. यू हैव टू गिव द क्रेडिबल सोर्स ऑफ इन्फॉर्मेशन एज वेल ऑल्सो. व्हाई यू आर गिविंग दैट सॉर्ट ऑफ credible, you are giving that accusation. This is your second type of point. The third type of point is point of order. If other delegate is making a mistake in using procedure and you know the procedure very well, you can raise your placard and say point of order, and that delegate has given the wrong point in the committee session, like that is the point of order. Similarly, then there is something called point of parliamentary inquiry. Agar aapko, you're facing some sort of difficulty, you are confused about a particular thing, then about a particular thing in the procedure, you can raise your placard and you can say point of order. This is your next type of point. Similarly, you have your, these are basically your 4 points which are essentially there in the conference. Like that, I will go to the next question. Sir, after giving my GSL, if I yield to questions and I don't know the answer. Gunjan asks, if I yield to questions and I don't know the answer to question, I can use my electronics, then will that deduct my marks? Gunjan, no. You can look at your electronics and you can revert after a few minutes. There's no such compulsion that you cannot look at. Like I said, it's not exam. If somebody asks you a question, you want to give answer, you can look at electronic and get back. There's absolutely no problem in that. Sir, if there will be more than 90-second speech, will we get points, not get points? See, ideally, we want you to stay within the, what do you call that? We want you to stay within the timelines that has been given to you. So try to avoid going past that. Swati, I just explained these points to you. Sanyan Thakur, can we bring electronic devices? Yes, very much so. We want you to bring your electronic devices. It's going to be very helpful for you throughout the entire conference. So, yes, please do. By all means, carry your electronic devices with you at the conference. Sanjeev, if debate, if someone asks question to us and we don't know the answer, what do we do? You can look at your electronic equipment, go on Google, do your research, have a look at the study guide, and then take your decision. No problem. Next question. I will await in the chat box. Sir, as a reporter, how will I get points? As a reporter, based on your language, based on your drafting, based on your understanding of what is happening in committee, you will get points. Negative marking you will get in case you made grammatical error or you made spelling error or basically the content that you shared is not relevant to the agenda. Devayan Rajvanshi, how much maximum time can we take to answer the question? And I mean, should not take you more than 5-10 minutes, right? I mean, if you have your electronic devices, you have access to internet. So I don't think it should take you more than 5 to 10 minutes to get an answer to the question. So I don't think you should overthink that too much. Tamanna, yes, as a reporter, if you're conducting interviews and engaging with people like an interview kind of thing, then yes, you will have to speak out there. Ambalika ma'am said we have to write it and send to the other delegate and I will answer later. Yes, you can write it on the chat and tell the delegate and the chairperson you will answer it later as well. Also, Sanjeev, that's absolutely correct. No problem. Tamanna, so basically, when you are in committee, how you see on the news and how you see an interview being taken, so you will be taking interviews also of some of the chairpersons, maybe one or two delegates, things like that. So yes, very much so. You can take interviews on those lines. Next question. You can take videos and pictures, Tamanna. Sir, if I don't know the answer in debate or in something else, do I have to ask permission from the chair? Yes, Swati, if you do not know the answer about something or you do not know what to respond to somebody at a particular time, you can use any time. You don't need to ever take permission to use it. Swati, anytime you can use your electronic equipment. There is no problem. You don't need to take permission to use your electronic equipment. My pleasure, Sanjeev. Yes, Mishika, I can tell you about yield to chair. What does yield to chair means? Basically, there are three types of yields: yield to questions, yield to comments, and the third one is yield to chair. So, suppose there is something you are confused about, like suppose you're confused, should I yield to questions or should I yield to the chair? Then what you can do is you can essentially, suppose you are confused between yielding to comments and yielding to questions, you can choose to yield to the chair, where essentially the chairperson can decide what would be the best kind of yield for you based on your speech and your address. Blocks, there's no like fixed number of points that you get. It's basically like an overall engagement, which is essentially there. Based on that is what you get your points on. So there's no like saying that, oh, I said these many questions, so that's why these many points I should get. Nothing like that. It depends on your engagement over the course of 2 days. Kamakshi, you don't need 2 hours. You don't need 2 hours. You will get 5 to 10 minutes. Go on Google, find out the answer to your question, and you will get a reward. Blocks, check with your teacher about the dress code once. No, you don't. There is no timings, Devian. That's saying that I will answer my question in 1 hour. I will answer my question in 2 hours. Question is asked. You need to answer it immediately. If you can't answer it immediately, you will get few minutes to research. But you're not going to get hours for one question. We have a big agenda to solve. Yes, Kamakshi, I've answered your question already. You are required to answer the question immediately. If at all you're unable to answer, you'll get a couple of minutes, but that's about it. Tamanna, as an international pairs corps, your chairperson will allocate you committee on the days of the conference. Your chairperson will tell you where to go, and you can enter inside anytime, no problem. Sanjeev, I explained informal voting already. I would request you to go through the video again about 12 minutes ago, and I've explained informal voting out there. However, formal voting is essentially when we do it in a resolution. It is taking place over a period of 3 rounds. In the first round, you have 6 options. You have agree with rights, disagree with rights, pass, and abstain. Agree means you're voting for the resolution. Disagree means you're voting against the resolution. Agree with rights means you're voting for the resolution but explaining why you are voting for the resolution. Disagree with rights means that you're voting against the resolution and you want to explain why you're voting against the resolution. Pass means you have not taken decision as yet. Abstain means you want to not vote on this agenda. This is what your round one is. Round two, people who have agreed and disagreed with rights get 1 minute each to explain why they have voted yes or why they have voted against the agenda at large. And finally, the people who have passed in round three, they will take the final decision. They will take the final decision in agree, disagree, or abstain. This is what your, how do you say, formal voting essentially is. Sayan, parents are not allowed in MUN. This is a student activity, so only students will be part of MUN. I didn't understand blocks your question. Tamanna, your chairperson will tell you how long your report should be. Maybe about 200, 250 words, I think should be fine. But like I said, this would be a better thing. Your chairperson will brief you in the committee session. Block said, like we were asked to get signatures of other country delegates in UNSC. I didn't understand blocks. Oh, you mean the resolution? Yes. So the resolution basically you have to do the voting and you have authors and signatory. Authors are people who have helped draft the resolution. Signatories are people who support discussion of the resolution, which is essentially what you mean by the term signatures. Srishti, this is something that your chairperson will tell you, but in terms of your committee in detail, from the little I understand of it, Wizarding World is a Harry Potter based committee where essentially what happens here is there is a Dark Lord, which is Lord Voldemort. He is growing to power and using the magic in the wrong way. As the Ministry of Magic, we will come together and we will see how we can stop rise of Dark Lord. This is what I understand from it. Cornelius Oswald Fudge, you must check whether he is friends with Harry Potter's team and Dumbledore's team, or he is friends with the Dark Lord and his team. That you will be able to check on Google. Second day of month speech and after speech, what will happen? There is discussion going on, no Swati? There is continuous discussion going on in cycle of moderated and unmoderated caucuses. Gunjan, actually, I don't have your contact numbers as yet, so I think the committee groups we will add you to only on the days of the conference. We won't be able to add you before that. Any more questions? Going once, going twice. All right. That being said, best wishes for the conference. I'm looking forward to meeting you, all of you, in person on Friday afternoon at the first day of LMS MUN 2025. Take care. God bless, and see you on Friday.